Hello, and welcome to Inventors Helping Inventors. I'm your host, Alan Beckley, inventor of the Wonder Wallet. If you're an inventor searching for proven ways to make money with your invention, if you dream to see your product selling in stores everywhere, you've come to the right place. There's no better place to get help than from experts, inventors who've already achieved success. Every week, I interview successful inventors, asking them the questions you want to know. Tune in to learn from the experts so you can get your invention out of the tank and into the bank.
Fortunately for me, entrepreneurship runs in my blood, and inventing something has been an idea that's always been on my bucket list and a dream for as long as I can remember. But every time, Alan, that I had an idea, I would discover that somebody else had already thought of it.
If you've listened to this podcast for a while, you've heard me talking about the Inventors Bootcamp, right? Over the last 3 years, hundreds of inventors have joined us in the Inventors Bootcamp, and we have lots of exciting success stories from our students. But guess what? The bootcamp is not for everyone. If you like to tinker with invention ideas occasionally on weekends, hoping that someday someone will buy your idea, the Inventors Bootcamp is not for you. If you think it's your job to just come up with ideas and someone else can take care of the rest, prototypes, packaging, and contacting companies, the Inventors Bootcamp is not for you. But if inventing really matters to you, if you know deep in your heart that you've got an invention ripe for success, if you're willing to learn and do whatever it takes to be successful, I'm here to help you, and the Inventors Bootcamp is your ticket, your next logical step forward. So, what is it? When is it? And how do you sign up? The Inventors Bootcamp is 5 days of live interactive Zoom meetings. Monday, May 12th through Friday, May 16th. For 1 hour each night. Teaches you precisely how to create a clear, concise marketing message, which is exactly what companies want to hear. When you join us, you'll meet other inventors, plus you get a licensing masterclass, and lots more. The next Inventors Bootcamp starts very soon. Monday, May 12th. Enrollment is open now. Just go to www.alanbeckley.com/bootcamp. Many podcast listeners, just like you, have joined the Inventors Bootcamp. Here are just a few of our success stories. Duncan Ashworth has 2 companies interested in licensing his COVID-killing floor sanitizing invention. Daryl Carter secured a business partner and licensing arrangement. His asthma relief product was set to debut last fall. And Julietta Hughes tested her portrait artist invention. Now she's got a clear strategy for reaching out to companies to license it. Ready to add your success story to our list? The bootcamp is your ticket. Register now at www.alanbeckley.com/bootcamp to save your seat in the May bootcamp. Welcome to episode number 507. Today is a rebroadcast of one of our classic favorites, episode number 462. Back to November 25th of 2024 with successful inventor Amy Leiker. She invented the Lofty Loo, a high-perch litter station for cats that they like and owners find more easily accessible. I think you're going to enjoy this episode as much as I did. Amy Leiker grew up in Topeka, Kansas, and now calls Kansas City home. Amy is the founder and CEO of Lofty Loo Raised Litter Station, the first accessible elevated litter box designed to make pet care safer and pain-free. With over 25 years of experience as a dynamic leader in healthcare and marketing, Amy is dedicated to creating purpose-driven solutions that improve lives. She was inspired by the challenges faced by millions of cat owners with joint pain and mobility limitations, forced to get on their knees to clean their cat litter boxes. So she developed Lofty Loo to empower owners to care for their beloved cats effortlessly. Proudly USA made and women owned, Amy's mission is to elevate cat care by supporting the people who care for them, making it easier, more accessible, and safe for the owner and their furry friends. You'll want to listen to this entire interview where Amy shares how she spotted a problem when her aunt, while helping a man hospitalized by COVID, discovered his house was in a messy disarray simply because he could not stoop to clean his cat's litter box. Also, how she was shocked to discover that hundreds of thousands of pets were resurrendered to shelters every year simply because their disabled owners could not clean litter boxes without suffering debilitating pain. And finally, how she learned that cats naturally feel safe and secure when they are in high places, so that an elevated litter station worked well for the cats and was easily accessible for their owners as well. Now let's get right to our interview with Amy Leiker. Amy Leiker, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast with us today.
Thank you so much, Alan. I'm so excited to talk to you as well.
I'd like to start by asking you, can you share a bit of your background with our listeners? Where did you grow up and go to school, and what did you do before you became an inventor? Could you share that with us?
Sure, that's a loaded question, but let me see how I can round this up for us. First of all, I'm a Midwest girl through and through. I grew up in Topeka, Kansas, and now I call Kansas City home. Most of my career has been in healthcare on the business side of things, taking care of people. I've always been a cheerleader for the underdog and drawn to solving problems and connecting with people, and overall just trying to find creative, better ways to live. In 2017, I made the decision to walk away from my corporate career. My daughter was starting high school, and honestly, I didn't want to miss a thing. So I started my own marketing firm, and within just a couple of years, COVID hit, and all havoc broke loose, as some say. Life took a turn for me, and like many of us, I found myself just adapting and rethinking everything about my career. Fortunately for me, entrepreneurship runs in my blood, and inventing something has been an idea that's always been on my bucket list and a dream for as long as I can remember. But every time, Alan, that I had an idea, I would discover that somebody else had already thought of it. I'm also a mom to three amazing kids who always tease me that I would turn into a lonely old cat lady once they moved out for college. And it's so funny how things work out sometimes, because who would have thought in a million years that I would have invented a product for cat lovers instead? So life always has a way of surprising me, and I'm so excited to be here as the inventor of Lofty Loo.
That's such a great story. And I was reflecting on one of your last remarks. And you can say, I'm not a lonely old cat lady, but I'm definitely a cat lady and have invented something that cat owners particularly appreciate.
Very true. I'm definitely not lonely, although my kids, 2 out of the 3 are now off to college. So parts of me are lonely, but I've always been an animal lover, and I'm so proud of where I am today and being able to help people and help their cats as well.
For sure, I understand that. My dad was a veterinarian, so I grew up around animals my entire life. So I've definitely appreciate dogs and cats and some more unusual animals since we lived in Panama. So that's another story for another time.
Alan, the older I get, I feel like I'm starting to love animals even more than I love people.
That is so true. They're very accepting.
That's what they are. Unconditional love at its finest.
Briefly share with our listeners the problem you saw and the aha moment that caused you to invent an innovative cat litter system that today you call the Lofty Loo.
Of course. Alan, for me, the aha moment came when my aunt called me about a neighbor who had been hospitalized during COVID, and he needed help caring for his cat. And when my aunt got to his house and saw his litter box situation, it was a complete disarray. Not to the owner's fault, but simply because life had hit. He was sick. Physically, he could not bend down to the ground to clean the cat's litter box. The cat clearly was not happy. The house was in terrible shape, and the owner had been sick and too embarrassed to ask for help. So, after trying to find a solution for him that would elevate the litter box so that he could easily sit in a wheelchair or stand with a walker, I had another aha moment. Nothing like it existed. Me being the savvy shopper, as I like to say, I went on to Walmart and Amazon and PetSmart and Chewy and Wayfair, everything online, trying to find what I was looking for to help this gentleman get his litter pan up and off the floor. And I couldn't believe that nothing existed. And then after a lot of research, I realized how many cat owners silently struggle with pain and mobility issues while caring for their pets. Alan, scooping a litter box on the floor can be incredibly difficult and outright dangerous for someone who has chronic pain or disabilities, and it doesn't have to be this way. And that's when the idea for an elevated, accessible litter box hit us. It's not just about solving a problem, it's about giving people back their independence. Just like one of our customers has often stated, you like to do things yourself even when you are old. And it doesn't just affect old people. It's when life happens, right? It could be a car accident. It could be a weekend warrior that twisted their ankle. It could be a surgery. Lofty Loo is so much more than a litter box for us. And that's how Lofty Loo was born.
That's such a fantastic story, and I really appreciate you sharing that with our listeners. It's always interesting to see the life journey that takes you to a point where you suddenly see a problem. And then in your case, probably, I'm guessing you looked and said, surely there's probably already something out there that has an elevated cat litter system. And you went and looked in all the usual places and didn't see anything like that. And the more you thought about the problem, the more you realized the pain and mobility issues that millions of people suffer, that perhaps this is a bigger problem than you might have initially thought.
Absolutely, Alan. And one thing just along my journey and the research and hearing people's stories is hundreds of thousands of pets are resurrendered into pet shelters across the country simply because people do not have the accessible tools needed to take care of their pets independently. It affects millions of people, many of which don't understand the need unless you have a loved one who's been affected by it or unless you yourself has been affected by. This affects millions of people across the country, the inability to bend down, the inability to have the mobility to clean the litter box when it's on the floor level. And unless you're personally affected or your family member or loved one or friend is personally affected by it, it goes unknown.
That makes perfect sense. And it also illustrates that seems to happen with quite a few inventions. When you initially come up with the idea and conceive of it and think about what the marketplace is for it, the more you begin to develop the product, the more you see that there's a significantly larger need and market than you might have originally thought. Would you agree with that?
I do agree. Lofty Loo has so many uses for different types of people. The more that I've dug into it and talked to our customers, they're actually telling me what works best for them. And yes, I absolutely do agree.
And you've spoken to what works best for people. Let's talk a little bit about the cats. Are there any particular advantages that are gained for them by choosing to elevate the cat's litter box approximately 2 feet off the floor? And overall, how accepting are cats to using an elevated litter box? Could you share that with us?
Absolutely. So elevating the litter box not only makes it so much easier on our own backs and joints for there's no more bending or crunching down or kneeling over to the floor, but for cats, they feel safest elevated. They feel more secure elevated. It's in a cat's natural instinct to be higher up for a sense of safety, especially when they're doing their most vulnerable business. They want to be up and away from dogs, up and away from small children. It's instinctive for them to use an elevated litter box. I always jokingly say cats love to do everything up high, so why do we expect them to poo down low? Lofty Loo just makes sense. It's better for the cats. It's easier for the owners. We made Lofty Loo about 2 feet tall, so it measures on most people between the knee and the hip for most. So there's very limited bending. And it's the only litter box, Alan, where owners can sit or stand to scoop. But from a cat's perspective, the perch, which we all know cats love to perch, the perch is only 18 inches off the floor. So it's smaller than Shaquille O'Neal's foot, if that gives you any kind of perceptive visuals. So it's more like a big step up for cats. Sometimes the pictures don't do it justice and it looks a lot bigger than it is. But trust us, we did a lot of research. We worked with a lot of veterinarians, cat specialists to make sure that it was not just easier for owners, but better for cats.
Once again, thanks for sharing that, and especially about the fact that cats particularly like something that's elevated. They feel more safe and secure. And I think when we chatted a bit more about it, you said that veterinarians have pointed out that there is a problem with people who own dogs and cats and have a lower litter box and problems with the dogs. Can you briefly share with us what that would be?
I can just tell you from my conversations with the many vets across the country, cat specialists, for whatever reason, I know there's some data behind this. Dogs love to get into the cat litter, and it's super dangerous for the dogs. So again, hundreds of thousands of dogs are seen every year in our veterinarians' offices from consuming cat feces. And what typically happens is we make the cat suffer. So we hide the litter box, we make them jump through hoops, jump over gates, slide under doors, all these nooks and crannies to have them keep the litter box away from the dogs. When in reality, we need to make it easy and safe for these cats, in addition to keeping it safely away from the dogs. And so that's one thing that we're really proud of. By elevating the litter box, it's not only better for the cat, but also safer for those dogs to keep them out of the cat litter.
Thanks so much for that information. And also, the Lofty Loo is more than simply a litter box. It's a piece of furniture that is custom designed to elevate the litter box to the optimal height. Can you describe the appearance of the Lofty Loo so our listeners can get a visual image? And also, what would you say buyers like best about using the Lofty Loo?
I think the best way to describe the Lofty Loo raised litter station is like a baby changing station for cats. So it looks like a nice, sleek piece of furniture that you would be proud to have in your home. It's not embarrassing. Most homes try to hide the litter box, discreetly put it hidden because it's just not pretty to look at. Lofty Loo is a very sturdy cabinet, just over 2 feet tall, like we talked about. It's got built-in storage to hide all those dirty cleaning supplies. You can hide and hold your scoops, your litter, your extra bags, treats, you name it. It's got massive amounts of storage that's built into the cabinet that you can nicely hide and contain those supplies. Buyers love the functionality. Of course, the cats love it. It looks nice. And it's so much easier to take care of your cats. It's an all-in-one cat litter changing station.
Yeah, so it's definitely a huge advantage not to have to go looking for all your different elements, so to speak, and have them all in one place discreetly where you can get to them easily. One thing I did want to ask you about is on your website, the Lofty Loo retails for $289. How accepting are consumers of the higher pricing when there are many other litter box systems that cost less? But also, do buyers like having, and I think you already answered this one, but also, do buyers like having all their litter supplies, scoops, litter bags, et cetera, easily accessible inside the cabinet?
Yes, those are all great questions. I'm going to back up real quick and just address your question or comment about the supplies being strung out from one end of the house to the next, because that's what we walked into when my aunt went over to take care of the cat for her neighbor. She noticed that all of the litter supplies were basically scattered throughout the house. She couldn't find what went to what. So the extra litter was in the garage. The scooper was laying visibly on the floor. The trash can was in the kitchen. And so one thing that was really important to us was to keep everything tidy. and organized and accessible, all within an arm's reach. And yes, the storage and the supplies is definitely a benefit to the cat owners. In regards to your question about the price, it's a great question. It's something that comes up quite often. It is more expensive than your typical litter box enclosure or furniture, but let me give you a couple of insights as to why. First of all, Lofty Loo is proudly made in the USA. And as we all know, there's a cost associated with that, which we're absolutely proud to support. It's built and manufactured in Ohio with a solid team that if I have questions, customer service, we need to get something turned around quickly, we're able to make that happen on a dime. This isn't something that's sitting overseas in the ocean waiting on parts and more. So being USA made is something we're proud to hang our hat on for sure. The other thing, Alan, is the materials. I took a lot of time, almost a year, to find the right materials to use for Lofty Loo. I didn't know this before because I'm not in furniture manufacturing, but there's all different types of grade, right, of materials. Lofty Loo is built to last the lifetime of the cat. So you're not looking at a flimsy, ready to assemble piece of furniture that's going to last you 3 or 6 months or even a year. This will last the lifetime of the cat. It's so much more than a basic litter box enclosure that you've seen on the market. Again, our customers see it as an investment in their health, their comfort, and in their pet's happiness. It's about long-term value, making your life easier, reducing pain, and keeping your home organized, like we talked about. The built-in storage for supplies is a huge hit. People love the convenience of having everything in one place, neatly tucked away. But mostly, again, I have to keep going back to cats love it. It's instinctively in their natural behavior to be elevated and to feel safe. And it's natural for owners to be able to sit or stand to care for their cats. We are a small business with volume. We are hoping to bring that cost down. But for right now, we hang our hat proudly that we're well worth the $289 we're asking for.
Thanks very much for sharing that. And as you were describing this, I'm thinking about, especially you mentioned it's built to last a lifetime with a cat. It's something the owner will be proud to have in their home. And it really serves the owner and the cat particularly well. And I'm sure as you look around, you see some of the different kinds of litter boxes out there. A lot of them either serve the cat reasonably well, but maybe not the owner, or some of them serve the owner well, but maybe not the cat that great. Making it where it fits the needs of both is, I think, particularly valuable.
I agree. I all of a sudden became a cat furniture, cat litter box cabinet expert over the last 4 years as I've been digging into the research and looking at the whys behind a lot of these litter box pieces. And quite frankly, a lot of them are not litter box cat friendly. I'm not a believer in enclosures and I'm not a believer in hiding the litter box. It's actually terrible for the cat. And in addition, as an owner, having to get down on the floor on your hands and knees and bottom to scrub a litter box is terrible on our joints. To give you an example, just real quick, I have donated some Lofty Loos to local shelters and cat cafes in my efforts to give back. And the staff calls the Lofty Loo the pick of the litter box. Because before then, the staff was having to get down on their hands and knees to clean the litter boxes. And if you can imagine how many litter boxes a cat shelter has, the cats love it, the staff loves it, and certainly I'm biased, but we're really proud of it.
That's really fantastic. I enjoyed you sharing all the details of that and describing that so clearly. As we roll towards a close, are there any parting words you'd like to leave us with?
I guess if there's one thing I've learned through this journey that I would share is that caring for our pets shouldn't come at a cost of our own comfort. Caring for cats shouldn't hurt. And Lofty Loo is about making life better for you and your furry friends, your cats and your dogs. Whether you're dealing with chronic pain, mobility challenges, or just want an easier way to care for your cat, Lofty Loo was created for you in mind. And from an inventor startup perspective, you must believe in your product and your mission and have the grit and ability to execute because it's incredibly hard work, both emotionally and financially. It's definitely not for the faint of heart.
That is absolutely so true. That's for sure. My last question is, how can our listeners reach you if they have other questions, and where can they buy a Lofty Loo?
Listeners can find more information or purchase a Lofty Loo at, you guessed it, loftyloo.com. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly through the website or on social media. We're at Lofty Loo on most platforms, and it's Lofty, like lofted, Lofty, and Loo, like a loo, Loo. So at loftyloo.com. And I'd love to hear from you. Small business here. More than likely, if you email through the website or message us or DM us, you're going to hear from me directly.
That's fantastic. And I just want to thank you, Amy, so much for being on the podcast with us today and sharing your story of the vision that caused you to create this product that is beneficial to both the owners and their feline friends, the Lofty Loo. And I'd like to reserve the opportunity, maybe another 6 months or year, to touch bases with you again and see what you've got going on at that time.
I would love that. I'm definitely on a mission to take care of the people, taking care of cats, and sticking true to my mission. And I would love to come back with more success stories, Alan, to share with you.
That sounds fantastic. I've got a question for you. How's your invention journey going? Is it smooth sailing, or are you facing some challenges? If you're facing some challenges, I have a possible answer for you. I've been offering custom coaching for a number of years now to help inventors who are facing issues like China sourcing issues. It just doesn't seem to be happening. Or prototyping challenges. Takes forever, it's costing too much. Or perhaps your pitches seem to be falling on dead ears. Maybe we can help you give it a tune-up. These and other issues I've helped a lot of inventors with over the years, because odds are, in the over 20 years I've been an inventor, the odds are good that I face the exact same issue you might be facing now. And I think custom coaching might just be the tune-up, the tonic that you need to help you get to the next place. So if you'd like to explore this and see if custom coaching is the path for you to get past your current obstacle, I'd be happy to work with you. Just reach out to me at alan@alanbeckley.com. That's ALAN @alanbeckley.com. And please put in the subject line, custom coaching. Now, I've got quite a few coaching engagements going on currently, but I do have 3 slots open between now and about mid-July. So I'd love to explore seeing if we might be able to help you get past those challenges you're facing and get you some traction faster than you're getting right now. Again, if this sounds interesting to you, just reach out to me, alan@alanbeckley.com, and put in the subject line, custom coaching. I'll get in touch with you, and I'll either help you or point you in the right direction to somebody else who can help you. As always, thanks for listening, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks so much for tuning in to Inventors Helping Inventors. If you like the show, please tell your friends about it. Make sure to subscribe in iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts so you won't miss a single episode. Talk to you soon.